in my last videos, I was messing around with getting blog posts to publish to Webflow based on a category that was defined in the Webflow website. And we got a new table added, which is the topic table that we populated from Webflow and their APIs. We have the topic collection ID that is unique for each one of those. And in this video, we are going to include this reference ID in the add blog post as we loop through each of the items. So to start with, I want to fix a thing that I attempted to put in at the very end of the prior video and was just running out of time. So it was a bug I created that was unfinished. For adding blog posts, as a kind of quick refresher what I was doing, we have a published to Webflow date. And this, after each API call to publish an article, we say what the date and time was. And the reason for that is, as we go out and retrieve new Newscatcher articles, they'll have no published to Webflow date. And those are the only ones, next time we run add posts to Webflow, we only want to get the ones that have not already been published. And so what I was trying to do was create a filter, a custom query on the query all records. And this is what I had last time, and it doesn't work because, as you saw, I've got what is 9 items out of 39 that should show up. And if we were to run this, actually before I run it, another little feature I don't know if I've talked about, if you hover over a non-highlighted function stack item, you will see that you can comment it out so it doesn't run. I'm kind of commenting out the for loop because I'm not looking to publish stuff to Webflow right now. I just want to test this one item. So let's go ahead. Let me make sure I got it commented out, and I do. And then we're going to come in here and run and debug and show that it fails. Because if I go into debugger, I got 0 items there. And then I'm going to show you how I fixed the bug I created. So we're getting the timestamp published to Webflow, which is great. And then, as opposed to checking for empty text and empty string, I really need to be saying if it equals, and then come over here and scroll down to the constants and pick null. There we go. So I'm saying any timestamp that equals null, because we haven't put anything in it yet, is what I want. So if I save this and run and debug, we should see that we have 9 items. So I got back the 9 articles, ones that have not been published yet. So we're good to go there. I'm going to uncomment this. So next time we run add blog post, it will only add the articles and not the ones that have been published. Now, another consideration that I'm not going to do right now because I've got other plans for us is that currently I am calling the API to post it, and then I'm, without checking for error conditions, which is a problem, I am editing the record and making the publish to Webflow. So in other words, if I call the Webflow API to post that blog and it fails, I'm still going to mark it as published even though it's not. For what we're doing right now, I'm going to leave that as it is, but it's something that needs to be taken care of, which I'm glad I came in here because it reminds me of another bug, all kinds of them. When I'm doing an update or an edit to an existing record, anything that I want to leave as is, you need to hide, right? So if I leave original publish date like this, it'll empty it out. And guess what I did when we were doing this in the prior video? I forgot to do that. So when I ran this as a test last time, what you'll see is in the news article, they're empty. So any one of the ones I ran last time are empty. and then any of the new ones still have content. So that was a bug that you'll now know to go back and fix. I'm going to save that. That way I'm not accidentally killing the data in my database, which would be really bad. Really bad if we were in production doing a real thing. Okay, so now what we want to do is in our add blog post, when we're looping through and calling the API, I want to add the collection reference. And last time we came in here, it'd be category reference, sorry. We want to add the category reference just like we have what is now the unnecessary author reference. If you remember in the last one, I got rid of authors out of Webflow because there's no good way to get a consistent set of authors out of this news catcher. A lot of them come up null or kind of have some random information in them. So I have two options. One is I can go into fields and scroll down and add what would be categories, or since I already have authors here and I was going to delete it, I just as well go in here and change it. And before I change it, what I need to do, move this here so I can scroll to it, I need to make sure I know what categories is called for a field. So it's probably just going to be category, lowercase, but I'm going to do the double check on that. If you remember, the way I have been checking the data property that we're supposed to use is get the blog posts. Because if I get them, it will show me in here, like authors. Let's see, does it even have, well, that's interesting. I'm expecting to see category in here somewhere, and I am not seeing that. Oh, that's probably, okay. So it's not showing up in here because if I go to Webflow and to blog posts, I don't think I've assigned any of my blog posts, go back in here, any of my blog posts to a category. So it doesn't return empty fields is what it comes to. So let's come down to category. Well, this one does have finance. And go ahead and publish. Because all I want to get to is making sure that I am setting it the category to the right field, the reference. See what we have here. Let's see, the one we were in was the message of Elon Musk. Okay, so that should be this one. If I go through each of these, I have authors. I may just try category and see if I can get it to work. It will tell me if it doesn't like it. Chances are this isn't going to work, but category. And then we want to, okay, what's the context I'm in? We want to look at the, actually, I may have to pass this in. Go ahead and save what I have, even though I'm incomplete. So I queried all the news articles, but what I don't have is the topic. So I have to get the topic ID all the way. Oh, that's right. Okay. So I need to have the topic ID associated with the news article, and I don't. Because if we come back to our database and look at news article, I put the topic in here, which is great. But when I write this news article out, I also need to put the topic ID. So we are going to say Webflow. We're going to category ID, because then it at least matches up with what Webflow calls it. And I'm going to move that right next to there. Okay, so I need to fill this in so that we can use it when we add the blog post. And so we need to go back to where we are writing out these news articles. Since I changed something in the database, I do want to refresh this page so it picks up those changes. And then I want to come back out to the functions, and where we get articles. This is getting all of them and it's looping. This one, actually, let's take a look at this. Because I think if we look at the get all topic articles, I get topic list. And then when I loop through and call this function, I have the topic name and the query. So I need to go one layer back again. And for get articles, I'm going to have to add in one more item, Webflow category ID. Okay, so that's now in place. And so if I've got a Webflow category ID being passed in, when I am looping through each of the articles for that topic, I need to, see, I'm doing nothing there, which is fine. Article or original topic. I need to, got Webflow category ID. What am I missing here? Need to think through. Adding to news article. There it is. It's right in front of me. It's already filled it in. Okay, here's a nice thing about Xano. I come across all the nice things by accident. I called it Webflow category ID in the input, which is the same name as what I called it in the database. And if you match up like that, Xano is really good at associating those automatically for you. So Xano has already set this up, and I was looking to try to do it manually, and I don't have to. Okay, so Webflow category ID will get added to each of the articles per topic and query. So now I can go back out one layer higher into get all topic articles. And for where I call this function, I now need to pass in the item variable, item, and I need to, the item represents the database rows, and it's Webflow category ID. I feel like I'm going in circles here. Let me leave that as is. We're calling get all topics. I get the topic. Oh, yeah. So I need to, it's a topic list that I have. So the topic list is not the news article. So I need to use the Webflow ID as I called it here. So Webflow underscore ID, back in the function setup, Webflow underscore ID. So now if I get articles again, here's what I'm going to do. We should get everything set up correctly. So I'm just going to start deleting all the articles we have. I am going to run this again, which will go and loop through all the topics. And the only thing that we should see different now is that the category ID should fill in, and it is. And I need this to be able to do the association when I add the blog post. So that is completed. So now when I get the articles, I have all the data in the news article table that I need to be able to add the blog post. Webflow. Okay. So remember, we had the query with the filter, so only the new items which will be all of them now. Nothing's been published to Webflow at this point. But what I get to do is use Webflow category ID in my loop in my API call. All of that to say that coming back to category, there it is. Okay, because I added it there. Category item dot Webflow category ID. Variable, okay. And I've got it associated to the news article, so let me make sure I'm happy with what I have. Item.webflow category ID. So let's go ahead. Oops, did I save that? I don't think I saved it. I didn't. Webflow category ID. That's probably something I need to file as something to fix, which is if you forget to update and switch off a screen, you can lose some of your changes. Okay, so now what I want to do is comment this out. I want to run my query. The reason I'm running my query is I want to look at the data I'm getting back to confirm that the, let's see, we've got, there it is. So it'll be item.webflow category ID. I wanted to make sure I saw that in here and that I had the data. So adding blog post, uncomment this so that it's live again. So now I've got it set up so that all of my blog posts should get published with a category associated with them. I'm going to delete everything we have here. That may take a little while to delete. We'll give it some time to think. And then let's see, we've got one page of them. I'm going to delete everything but a few, like a couple of news, a couple of sport, a couple of tech. I'm doing this just so that we don't have to wait as long for the updates. And I should then be testing a couple of each of the categories. So these topics or categories all should be associated. Okay, so I'm going to publish. Because if I don't publish, then the slugs will be considered duplicate and my posts will fail. Now that doesn't mean that adding these won't fail anyway, but let's see what happens. Okay, we're running, so at least I don't have problems on the Xano side. If I, almost there, got two more left. There we go. So they're all published successfully, except for that one thing I'd mentioned. I mean, successfully in that I don't check the return code. Okay, so I have 200, so me not checking return codes won't be a problem on this one. These all went out to Webflow. And if I look at these, oh, that's right, let's do a refresh. Someday I'm just going to let Webflow sit for like 5 minutes to see if it refreshes itself or if you always have to do the refresh. So what I'm curious about is if we go into these blogs now, there it is. That's great. So now we have the category associated. So what this shows you is how you can use Xano and Webflow together to have reference fields auto-populated through the API based on the categories that you have defined. So if we go back and look at just a couple of these. Yeah, so it looks like everything filled in real nicely, which is wonderful. So that means that you now have categories associated to each of these. And if you notice, the categories show up in the top as a little pill or tag, each with a different color. And that color is all Webflow capability. Let me go back out here and show. This is nothing that I did special. When you define a category, you get to pick a color. So in theory, make sure that each color, it looks like we've got up probably, which one was it that was green? So let me change politics to be something else. So in theory, now we've got different colors. Can I remember all the different colors? Okay. We'll save that. And there it is. So I guess since my last video, I had to split into two because I went so long. I've done most of what I was looking to do in the last video. I mean, I was hoping to get all this done in the last video, and now you're going to be spread across 3. But what you have at this point is a pretty functional system, I think. I mean, I don't think I would sell it to a client, but if you wanted to have a Webflow site that you could put new news articles on a regular basis, this will do it for you. And just kind of as a reminder, we ran get all topic articles, which ran against get articles. So this one loops, and then the get articles loops, which puts everything out into the news article table in Xano. And then we go and run the add blog post function. And every time we run that one, it will take anything that doesn't have a published date and push it out into Webflow. And then we have a few other get type, 4 other get type functions for us just to get and see what's out in there, like get the blog posts, but we don't write them anywhere. Get the collections so that we can get the IDs, but we don't write that info anywhere. That's just a retrieval. Get the sites is the same thing, so we can get the IDs. The get categories, though, we actually do loop through and store those because we needed the category/topic IDs so that when we write out our articles, we can associate them to the categories that we've defined in Webflow. So if you wanted to choose one of the different news catcher, see if I still have that up, I do. If you wanted to use e-commerce or entertainment or beauty or travel, you would just come into Webflow and go to one of these. Actually, you wouldn't use one of these, you would add a new one. So you would go ahead and add a new category, delete the one you didn't want to use, and then come back over here and get the categories so that you would fill in the topic table with the new name and its ID. And just by doing that, then whenever you run get all topic articles, it will use the entertainment one that you added in and get those articles so that when you publish them, you will have a new set of content showing up. So that's kind of the thought process here. I might end up doing one more video because I had mentioned early on in the first video that there is a capability that's a bill, or there's a price associated to it. It's not part of the free Xano account, which is a background task. And I will spend some time in the next video separating it out from all the free stuff and show you how you can add tasks that are scheduled to run everything I just told you would manually run. I will create a task that uses all these functions to rerun this on a regular basis. So I'll show you how you can run it every hour, every day, every week, every month, and automatically get new articles on a regular basis. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments, and hopefully this will get you somewhere a little bit further than where you were. Thanks for your time.